My favorite fairy tale has always been Snow White. And that's maybe because I am a little bit Snow White with all my little animals and my passion for them. I really like the story, so bear with me. I'm going to tell you the original Brothers Grimm version, which is very different than the family-friendly Disney Snow White. A pregnant queen is sewing at her window one day when she pricks her finger and a few drops of her blood fall on the windowsill where it just snowed. Now don't ask why the window was open in the cold winter. No one knows. And seeing the blood on the windowsill, she wishes that her child has skin as white as snow, lips red as the blood, and hair black as ebony. Unfortunately, this queen ends up passing away during childbirth. And the king marries again before he dies too, leaving this wicked queen to rule the kingdom and raise little Snow White. Now fast forward in time to when Snow White is only 7 years old, because in the true story, the origin story, this all happened when she was 7. Evil Queen was into witchcraft and magic. In fact, she had a magic mirror that would tell her all. And it wasn't until Snow White turned 7 that the magic mirror snitched and told the queen that she was no longer the fairest of them all. Snow White had now officially taken her place as the most beautiful of the realm. So the queen orders a huntsman to take Snow White into the forest to get rid of her and bring the queen back her liver and lungs, because she was going to perform a witchcraft spell with it. But the huntsman lets Snow White go, and then ends up taking an animal, a bear cub, and bringing that to deceive the queen as what she had asked for. And the evil queen starts doing her spells and eats the lungs and the liver that the huntsman had brought her, thinking that they were of Snow White. Poor little Snow White runs for hours and hours into the forest until she stumbles upon and it's described as being a cottage that was very neat and clean. There was no one home when she entered the cottage. She fell asleep on one of the beds, only to wake up surrounded by 7 dwarfs. And in one of the original versions, the 7 dwarfs tell her that she can't stay because they only have 7 beds. They really didn't want this little girl there messing things up. They were very, very clean. But she begs them, and they say, okay, if you cook and clean for us, then we'll let you stay. But not too long after that, the queen asked her magic mirror again if she was the fairest of them all. But since the mirror could only tell the truth, he tells her, nope, it's still Snow White. She is still the fairest of them all. This infuriates the queen, who thought that she had been done and offed her and had eaten her lungs and liver, and now was furious. And she vows to stop at nothing to get rid of Snow White. Evil Queen finds out where Snow White was staying, so she decides to disguise herself as a farmer's wife. She reaches the cottage and knocks on the door, and when Snow White answers, she pretends that she was selling pretty lace. And the old woman offers to lace up Snow White's bodice properly with this pretty lace. The old woman ties it so tight that she suffocates Snow White and she passes out on the floor. The dwarfs arrive just in time to cut off the lace and get her circulation going again, and they save her life. The queen now goes for her second try. She disguises herself as another old woman and pretends to be trapped. And when Snow White goes to help her, the woman, to thank her, gives her a poisonous wooden comb. The evil queen gets the comb and pretends to go to brush Snow White's hair and pricks her in her head with the poisonous comb. But it wasn't strong enough to off her, so here we go with her third attempt. This time the queen goes for a farmer's wife, and she's carrying an apple. The queen this time only poisoned one side of the apple, and when she offers it to Snow White, even though she wasn't trusting of anyone, after everything that happened to her, decides to take it. And the only reason she took it was because this farmer, this old woman, was eating the other half. This time she offered Snow White half of the apple, and her half was the poisonous one. What do you think? Will the evil queen succeed with her third attempt on Snow White? I'll tell you in the next episode.